Hey guys, it's Tony Katara here from Achievers Group with another passionate yet practical business video vitamin. Guys, I wanted to talk to you today about negotiation. In particular, recently, about 2 months ago, I read a brilliant book by a negotiation guru called Stephen Gates. And I was incredibly excited by this slide that I saw in the book because in essence, I started to get an understanding, a deeper understanding of every negotiation is different, but there are different types of negotiations. And I think the weakness that we all have is that we actually think there is a simple formula to negotiation. And I would challenge that assumption based on this, what we call this clock face. And I think it's really important that if you are negotiating with people, that you understand where the clock face is and potentially where you want the clock face to go. Or come to the acceptance that this is where the clock face is from a negotiation perspective and use the appropriate strategy that suits that clock face time scenario. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to briefly go through those stages all of actual negotiation. Now, the most basic form, which I think on the slide you can see between 1 and 2, is bartering. Bartering is a form of negotiation. Now, bartering is traditionally the way we used to operate prior to money. And bartering is effectively trading. It's you give me this, I give you that. There is really no negotiation. It's just a trade concept. It's the most basic form of negotiation. There's usually no emotional attachment to it all, and it's usually just about assuming the value. The next type of negotiation, and this is probably an area of negotiation that many of you get involved in, and this can be quite confrontational. And recently it happened to me where I actually did a bit of this negotiation, and it was haggling or bidding. Now, I was about to buy a brand new car. A car is a commodity. So essentially, my negotiation strategy was very much haggling and bidding. I was haggling and bidding because I was basically looking at 6 or 7 dealers and I was looking out who was going to give me the best possible price. Now, many of you have to realize that is a form of negotiation. And especially if you're in sales, that is essentially the level of negotiation you could have from professional buyers who view your product as a commodity. That's why selling commodities can be so incredibly frustrating and difficulty, because people just use haggling or bidding as a form of negotiation where they sometimes look at the lowest possible price. The next phase of negotiation, which is the clock face between 4 and 5, is hard bargaining. Now, it's a little bit more advanced than that, but it's effectively, essentially, the techniques of persuasiveness that you would actually use in a hard bargaining situation, where you could have gambits, where you could throw away things in order for them to actually deal with you. And that moves to the next phase, which is dealing, which is a more advanced form of hard bargaining, but it would be the next phase where there could be concession trading moving forwards. Now, we're up to around about 6 on the clock face, around 6. And as you can see, the complexity continues to increase. Now, let's move to the more advanced forms of negotiation. The next form of negotiation is concession trading. Now, concession trading usually comes as the negotiations hot up, and they tend to operate in the way that I will throw something in, or I will actually, and then you'll have to give something away. So I will do something, and in doing that, we actually try to concede on certain aspects to reach agreements. The next form of negotiation is probably, and this is no reflection on any authors, but it is probably a reflection of where everybody wants to get to. But let's be totally honest here. Not all forms of negotiation are win-win, because some forms of negotiation never get past stage 3 or stage 4 of this clock face. But the next form of negotiation is win-win, where both parties almost work in a spirit of collaboration, where I win and you win. And that is actually section 9 of the clock face. The next type of negotiation, which is certainly the highest, one of the highest levels, is a partnership or a joint problem solving way of negotiation. And this could be very evident where you're dealing business for a long period of time and you're trying to reach some sort of agreement. There is a certain level of trust in the relationship now. There is a certain open book philosophy that goes around that, and that partnership is to create a win-win. But not only in a win-win, where you actually say there is a problem, how can we actually reach a resolution on this problem? And the highest phase of probably negotiation is relationship building, where you've built such an amazing relationship that there is complete trust, there is complete honesty, there is complete integrity in the relationships, and it becomes a real pleasure. There's no friction, it's just friendliness, it's an understanding where each party is, and it's a true yes, yes. And I just wanted to show you that because I think in many ways, this really helped me because I have done so much negotiation to understand where things were and how to move them from one phase to the next. So guys, until next time, God bless you. Have the most amazing week.